Los Angeles. We're happy you could join us, and we're eager for the team to introduce itself to you, to talk about what the Honors College is about, what you can expect, and why it is that we think you are qualified to seek admission. Again, good morning and welcome. My name is Rennie Shefflin. I'm the director of the Honors College, and by profession, I'm an historian of science and medicine. Eager to serve you, not only in my role as an administrator, but as a faculty member. The Honors College is about learning, but it's also about becoming. You know, each of us comes to different situations with our past, the qualities that we have been born with and that we have acquired throughout the years in which we have lived up to this point. And then we ideally continue to transform into persons who can think and be and behave in ways that help not only our families and our communities, but the world at large. We believe the community of faculty, staff, and students, and the curriculum that we've created in the Honors College is a special, a unique, and a powerful way to transform your lives into service for the world and for others. Today, we'll talk about that curriculum. We'll talk about the support networks that we have created to ensure that you succeed and grow, and that you begin to fulfill your potential and to actualize yourselves. You will hear from Honors College alumni who will be able to answer questions and to reveal to you why the college was an important and essential part of what they experienced at university. Some of you may be a bit anxious about the Honors College. You may be, for example, anxious already about coming to university. And we want to underscore to you that the Honors College is about assisting you in developing your abilities and transforming you, not about creating hurdles that it's impossible or very difficult for you to overcome. We're eager for you to listen carefully, to ask questions, and to learn about us this morning. You'll learn about certain learning principles, certain outcomes that we expect all of our students to be engaged in and to graduate with as a result of being part of the Honors College. And I want to talk about that in terms of 3 C's. The C's of critical thinking, community, and conversation. One of the things that is essential for a graduate of any institution to do is to continue to learn and to think critically about the information that they confront in their lives and throughout their experiences. How is it that you evaluate whether or not the news in the National Enquirer, the news in the LA Times, or the news in the New Yorker is to be believed? Well, one of the things that we stand for in the Honors College is developing the critical faculties that are necessary for you to make those judgments. Not just judgments about facts, what is so, but also about values. What should we do about those facts? Critical thinking is essential. And you'll be learning about a curriculum that develops your ability to expand your ability in this area and to culminate in one of the great pieces of pride of our graduates, which is a culminating experience or Honors College thesis. But the other C, community. We don't just do this in isolation. Yes, there's a lot of individual work that is demanded. Each of us needs to develop on our own terms, in our own way, and sometimes in our own pace. But that doesn't happen in isolation. Human beings are social beings. And much of what we learn is a result of our interaction with other human beings and also with non-human beings, with animals and plants and the globe as it exists around us. And the Honors College prides itself on the settings and opportunities in which community can be enhanced. Now, we admit it's been a little awkward with COVID as we've been isolated into this kind of delivery system for some time now. But we have learned to adapt as have you, I'm sure, in your educational experience up to this point. And I think we're seeing maybe the end of the long haul on COVID and are going to be able to live with the reality that COVID has become endemic, and we'll learn to manage it like we have influenza, for example. So you will learn about various settings, not only in residence halls, but in King Hall in our Honors Lounge, in which there are great opportunities for you to interact outside of your formal classroom settings. So, critical thinking, which comes to be engaged with in community through the medium of my last C, conversation. There's a little book entitled Conversation, How Talk Can Change Our Lives, authored by Theodore Zelby. And I want to read a brief paragraph from that book. Conversation puts you face to face with individuals and all their human complexity. Our education cannot be complete until we have had conversations with every continent and every civilization. It is a humbling experience, which makes one conscious of the enormous difficulty of living in peace when there is so much injustice, but which also gives one great hopes every time one succeeds in having a conversation that establishes a sense of common humanity, a mutual respect. After such conversations, one can never be the same person again. So the Honors College is about that almost magic, one can say, that happens when you converse with someone who is other than you. As you open your mind and your heart to them, you listen with empathy to the way in which they have lived their lives and the hopes that they will share with you about how their future life might become a reality. So we at the Honors College are excited to tell ourselves about you and to introduce you to the opportunities that the Honors College will provide you during your university experience through critical thinking, community, and conversation. Thanks again for joining us. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the Associate Director of our program and our good friend, Allison McCurdy, a chemist and longtime faculty member at Cal State LA. Dr. McCurdy.
Thank you, Dr. Shefflin. Thanks so much. Yeah, I'm the Associate Director of the Honors College, and this morning I'll be giving you an overview of the Honors College a little bit. And there will be a Q&A later if you don't have the agenda, but for now we're gonna try to hold your questions until that time. I'd like to try to share my screen because sometimes that doesn't always go as well as it could, but I'm gonna do that and start the slideshow. All right, so I like to start with this quote because, well, I think it's a great quote, and I want to let you know that you'll be hearing live students and alumni later. So this is simply just to give you a taste. All right, the Honors College has given me a home away from home. It has given me a family of friends that has made me look forward to coming to school every day. On a campus where commuting is the norm, it's difficult to create lasting relationships with others, but the Honors College has given me a place to meet like-minded people. These people are the ones who've helped to push me to be the person that I am today, and I'm extremely thankful to the Honors College for giving me that opportunity. All right, so who gets to be in the Honors College? Who belongs in the Honors College? Well, I'd say, probably all of you. Right? The Cal State LA Honors College is designed for students who want to engage deeply in their major, in their discipline, with their communities, and in the world. We also want to highlight that all majors are welcome. We have majors from all 7 of the colleges at Cal State LA in the Honors College. So there's no major that's incompatible with being in the Honors College. We're a program that has about 300 students in it right now. All right, so what else are we looking for in an Honors College student? Well, yes, academic performance is important, but so are other things like motivation, curiosity, creativity, diversity, and a commitment to change the world. All right, so if you're going to join the Honors College, which we really hope you do, the pathways to get into the Honors College are actually several, right? You're going to be joining students who have come to the Honors College from a few different ways. One group of students is actually a rather young group. There's an early entrance program for students that join college at an early age. The second way to get in, which is you, is some freshmen, first-time freshman Cal State LA applicants. So as a high school student, you're applying to Cal State LA, and you also apply to the Honors College. And so you have both a major and you have the Honors College. Those are two sort of programs that you'll be involved in the Honors College. And finally, you can enter the Honors College as a junior student. You can transfer from a community college, or you can already be a sophomore at Cal State LA and then apply and enter as a junior. Okay, so what is our program all about? Well, we have 5 areas that we hope the Honors College is going to assist you in growing in. These areas are leadership, creative thinking, civic engagement, inquiry analysis and research, and problem solving. We think our curriculum and activities are designed to both complement and enhance the expertise that you're going to already get in your major at Cal State LA. So how is it that you're supported as you go through the program? There will be later today more details about that, but I'm going to just give you some of the highlights. Our program has engaging and transformative courses that complement your major, but they also fulfill university requirements and prepare you for leadership in your profession. So there you have really supportive advising staff that work with you and connect you with university resources. We have activities in community engagement and leadership that promote global citizenship. And finally, as Dr. Shuffin referred to, there's a culminating project within your major discipline that deepens critical thinking, intellectual and creative skills, and connection to your major. You'll hear about that more later as well. There's a few other things that are benefits to join the Honors College. As Dr. Shefflin alluded to, there's a community. That's one of the 3 C's, right? So Honors College students have a strong sense of community with their motivated peers. There's dedicated spaces for you, just for you, for socializing and studying. So besides the spaces that already exist on the campus, there's some dedicated just for honors. Our classes are smaller than the typical Cal State LA class. You will get priority registration for not just your honors classes, but your major classes. And that means you're first in line to get those classes, maybe at a preferred time or a preferred instructor. There's opportunities to join on-campus honors housing. We have scholarship opportunities that only Honors College students are eligible for. There is an intentional coaching that happens in our curriculum for career and professional development. And there's coaching for external scholarship, fellowship, and grad school applications. And frankly, of course, when you're all done and you're wrapping things up and getting ready to graduate from Cal State LA, you're going to have a formal recognition of Honors College completion and your thesis title on both your diploma and on your transcripts. So there's a lot that comes with being an Honors College student. So I'm going to close with another quote. I feel that the Honors College helped me become a more well-rounded individual. This was done through the type of courses that were offered and through the other college experiences provided. The Honors College is full of staff that is always willing to help, motivate, and guide you through your experience. They present you with many opportunities throughout and always motivate you to go as far as you can reach. So with that, I would like to end my sort of general overview of the Honors College and introduce, if I may, Ms. Jessica Rodriguez. She'll be taking over for the next section. She is our Thesis and External Scholarships and Fellowships Coordinator. Ms. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Dr. McCurdy. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. So I'm really glad to see so many of you join us today. And I'm also really excited to introduce and mention that we have a few Honors College alumni with us today who will be sharing some of their experience and hopefully at the end have a few minutes to answer your questions. In the meantime, let's see, I think I see them in the chat, in the participants. If we can have Melody, Rolando, and Andreina, please take a moment to introduce yourselves. What year did you graduate from Cal State LA and the Honors College, your degree, and let us know anything that you're currently working on or a part of. Let's start with Andreina.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Andreina. I graduated from Cal State LA and the Honors College in 2017. My major was nutritional science, and I also had a minor in Spanish. Following my graduation from Cal State LA, I went on to pursue my Master of Public Health at Cornell University. There, I also did what's called a dietetic internship, which is just some more training for the career path that I chose in becoming a registered dietitian nutritionist. And so nowadays I work as a dietitian at Stanford Children's Hospital here in Palo Alto, California, in the Bay Area. And I work with kids who have diabetes and some endocrine disorders, and I really enjoy my work, and I'm glad Cal State LA was a foundation for that. Thank you.
Thanks, Andreina. Up next, Melody, if you can introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Happy Saturday. I'm so excited to be here with all of you. Thank you so much to the Honors College for the invitation. I'm really glad to be here with Andreina and Rolando and to share my experience with y'all and connect with you and be of any support that I can be throughout your journey at Cal State LA and in the Honors College. So my name is Melody Klingenfuss. My pronouns are she, her, and I graduated in 2015. I was a communications major and a political science minor. And honestly, after the Honors College, after the thesis that I did that I'll get to talk to a little bit when we're going to the questions, I became really passionate about the nonprofit world. So I decided to pursue my master's of nonprofit leadership and management at USC. And I graduated in 2017 with my master's. Throughout the programs that I did, I was able to truly find my place in helping other folks, and I became the statewide organizer for the largest immigration nonprofit in the nation, the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights, CHIRLA. So I did that organizing work for the last 4 years, so you could imagine how busy I was under the Trump administration. And throughout of that journey, I collected so many resources, connections, information, and I wanted to bring it back to Cal State LA folks. And a position opened up in the Dreamers Resource Center, which if you didn't know, we have one at Cal State LA, and I'm currently the coordinator there. And I've only been there for 6 months, so I'm still definitely learning and just figuring it out as I go, especially with everything going on with COVID. But in that sense, I'm able to help undocumented folks and any other person who needs help getting through college and share my experience and do it together. So I'm so excited to get to know all of you a little bit more later. Thank you.
Thanks, Melody. And yeah, it's great to have you on campus again. And for the next last introduction, Mr. Rolando, por favor.
No, thank you, Jessica. Thank you to the Honors College for having me here. I'm excited to be here along with Andreina and Melody. Two great alumni, as you all can see. They've gone off to do great things. So I graduated from Cal State LA in 2017. And soon after graduation, I was able to get a position with the Member of Congress, which represents the area that Cal State LA is in, downtown and Northeast LA. So I got to stay home and do a lot of work with the community as a field deputy with Congressman Jimmy Gomez, who's still the representative now. During that time, so I was there for about 3.5 years. During that same time, I actually went back to Cal State LA. So I basically did it all at Cal State LA, and also a lot of my career has been built in the area. Currently, I am working as a senior policy analyst with Ultimate Health Services, which is basically down the street from Cal State LA in Commerce. where Ultimate is a federally qualified health center, so they serve a lot of the medically underserved communities in Los Angeles and Orange County. So I do a lot of advocacy and leadership training for our communities, especially now during COVID. It's been challenging to get people the right information about the vaccines and what's important and what they need to do to take care of themselves. But on top of that, I think Ultimate provides a well-rounded services of healthcare. So they provide senior services, pediatrics, and complete primary care. So I have to advocate and make sure that those services continue to be given to our communities, and it's sort of the work that I've been doing. And we serve a big a number of people that we serve are from Latino background, so it's definitely work that I've been enjoying. I've been there for about 8 years, so 8 months. So it's been a big learning curve for me, but I'm truly happy to be there and to be here with the Honors College to share my experience and with my experience as being as an honors student. So thank you for having me, and I'll pass it back to Jessica.
Thanks, Rolando. I appreciate that. And now to get started to the first question, thank you everyone for introducing yourselves. For the first question, I'll take it to Melody. What do you think were some of the benefits and challenges of being an honors college student?
Yes, so I was so excited for this panel. So I have a ton of Post-its. Okay, I know my stuff, but I'm gonna keep, I just didn't want to miss anything, because I really care about the honors college. So here I am, if you see me looking down. So let's start with the challenges first. That's my organizing brain, right? You start with like the more harder things, and then you go on to the good things. So you remain on the good things for the most part. But the challenges, right? I want to keep it as real and honest as possible. So that way you know what you're in for. But at the same time, a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about, Dr. McCurdy already kind of covered in the slides, but then you'll hear more of a personal anecdote for each one, which I'm sure will help you even more, right, as you continue this journey. So one of the first challenges is imposter syndrome. I was the only one who was a comms major, and then my cohort, which was about like 12 folks, had all these fancy majors, like biology and all this stuff. Like I remember my friend Edwin, he narrowed down his major. It's like, I'm learning how to make bombs or something. And I was like, oh my God. And I can't do math to save my life, right? Hence why I'm a comms major. But, I think it's about not psyching yourself out, right? That you are going to be in this room with a lot of folks who are doing amazing and extraordinary things, but that you belong there, right? It's not about, your abilities or anything like that. It's just about what you want to contribute. And honestly, you being here, it already tells a lot that you want to give back to the world, which is one of the main missions of the Honors College. So I think just remaining in that goal and not psyching yourself out is really, really important. The classes are seminar style, so you get to share your thoughts and you get to contribute no matter what, every single day. And the professors really guide you. They don't spoon feed you the information. You really gotta figure it out, and because you're doing it with a cohort, it's you make it as a collaborative effort. The second challenge I would like to mention is that classes are not meant to be easy, right? Like they're really meant to push you out of your comfort zone, but it's done in such a way where the professors, I feel, are handpicked by the Honors College, that the professors that you're getting are truly professionals, and they really care about giving you the correct information and for you to have a good grasp of the content that they're teaching you. And they offer support during the class and after the class. So even though the classes are challenging, you really do get that support. And I would say the third challenge, yes, it is maintaining the 3.5 GPA, because we don't just exist within the college, right? You all have personal lives, you have extracurricular activities, right? You have all these other responsibilities going on, and you're doing it in the middle of a pandemic, right? Like nothing is normal. We're all making it up as we go, and we're all really going through it, especially with with the surge that has been going on, and our mental health can be really affected, right? So I think just keeping that in mind, that yes, maintaining that 3.5 can come with a lot of challenges, but even you being here, that means that you've already cultivated different study habits that will continue to carry on. And I think it's just about being flexible and learning what works for you. Because honestly, once you get the grip on a semester, then it changes again and you have to like make it up again for the other semester, right? So that is a challenge, but I really think it can be done with a lot of flexibility and self-compassion. And then now let's go into the benefits. And I know I'm talking a lot, but again, I will be sharing my contact information. So if folks want to connect with me, I'm more than happy to do so via Zoom, or you can come by and visit me at the Dreamers Resource Center. So benefits, okay, I'm excited about this one. So the Honors College is such a welcoming space. For example, I came out as undocumented for the first time in the Honors College. That's how comfortable they made me feel, where I was an 18-year-old straight out of college. I was, really mad at the world because I didn't have equality, right? And I was gonna have to work twice as hard to get half as far as everybody else because of my status, right? I didn't have a work permit. I couldn't make a bank account. I could barely afford tuition, right? And so me coming out as undocumented, I didn't want any pity, and I didn't want my cohorts or the professors to treat me any differently. And it was so cool because I remember the first time I came out in a classroom setting, everybody was like, okay, like they didn't make a big deal about it. It was just kind of like, cool, let us know what you need. Like, you're still Melody. We're still here to support you. And so like, if you belong to any other minority group, like this is definitely the space to share that and connect with other community members as well. Number two, staff are there to help you. They are guides. There were only 2 undocumented folks when I was in the Honors College at that time. And on the staff didn't have a lot of the answers that we needed as undocumented folks, but guess what? They found the answers for you. They really did. Like, they went above and beyond to help me out. Even learn in the way that they also like teach you different things. For example, I requested a letter of recommendation like 3 days before it was due. Like, that's such a no-no. And like the faculty at Honors College was like, yo, like, next time this is how you do it, and it's done in such a constructive way. So I was like, okay, I didn't feel too bad about it. And the way that it's done, right, to help you, guide you in those situations is really great. And lastly, lifelong connections. You go through the program together. So when you take finals together, you're all stressed out together, but you do a study group, right? And you figure it out and you have a group chat to vent. I just connected with one of my friends from the Honors College. We went to have Panera and it was really great. I hadn't seen them in, like close to 10 years. And it was like the first time and we were able to connect. So you make those lifelong connections to carry you out even after you graduate from the Honors College. So thank you. And I'll pass it back to Jessica.
Thank you, Melody. I appreciate that. And for this next question, for Rolando, what were some of the activities you were a part of as an Honors College student that helped you balance, your major requirements along with your honors requirements?
Thank you, Jessica. So I think that, as Melody mentioned, the classes aren't made to be easy. I think just in general in college, it's going to be challenging, and you're going to question whether you should be there or not. But I think it's important to understand and really realize what Melody just mentioned, that in the Honors College, you have people who are willing to go above and beyond for you. So whether it's the professors, the advisors, faculty, anybody who's there. I've known Jessica since I started at the Honors College, and she was always there. If she didn't have the answers, she would find ways to find those answers for me. And that's just the same sort of attitude that everybody in the Honors College has, right? Same with Isabel. Isabel, I've known her for a while, and I since I started in the Honors College as well, and I never got a no, I can't help you, go figure it out somewhere else. It was always like, give me some time. If I can't figure it out, let me find out how I can figure it out for you. And then the advisors as well. It's important to utilize all the tools that are available. And Marilu, same way, always above and beyond, making sure that if you couldn't find time for your classes, they looked up classes for you to make sure that you were able to complete all of your requirements. So again, it is a challenging time, but the tools are there to go about. Another thing that I did was utilize all the spaces that are available in the Honors College, making sure that you lean on your peers for help, work together to get through classes, because it's always important to have that community sense that was mentioned earlier by Dr. McCarty. So it's important to like lean on your peers, lean on the faculty and the professors to discuss what you're having trouble with. I too had to work and manage a couple internships. I was lucky enough that I was looking for a job, and I walked into the Honors College one time, and Jessica was looking for a staff assistant, and then it just happened that I got the opportunity to work as I obviously interviewed, and there are other things that I had to do, but I got lucky enough to get that position where part of my time was spending most of my work at the Honors College, but I also had to manage other internships. So it's always important to keep in mind that although you're going to school, you also need to give yourself time to do other things, hang out with your friends, with your peers and people that you're meeting, because these are lifelong friendships that you make in the Honors College and during your time at Cal State LA. So I was involved with a few other organizations outside of the Honors College, where I met other people that were from outside the Honors College. And that also helped me. I did intramural sports where I got to, continue to stay active and have the opportunity to kind of de-stress, right, in a sense. So those things are super important. And I think that the Honors College offers all those tools to succeed. So all I would say at the end that yes, there's challenges. Yes, the classes are not going to be extremely easy. You're going to have to work hard. But when you prioritize and you manage your time, you'll set yourself up for success. And the Honors College has all those tools for you. So yeah, that is a little bit about some of the things that I did and how I was involved. So I'll go ahead and pass it back to Jessica.
Thanks, Rolando. And for this final question for Andreina, what can you share with us about your senior thesis project? And maybe if in any way it connected to your postgrad experience. You mentioned it a bit earlier, but I always like talking about your thesis. So I'll let you do the talking about that. Andreina, thank you.
Thanks, Jessica. Yeah, and thanks, Melody and Rolando, for everything you've already shared. I echo everything you're saying, and especially in like the connections that we're able to make while we're students in the Honors College and while we're students at Cal State LA, and the support from the faculty. So for my thesis experience, using all of those connections, right, I got ahead in my classes so that I had some extra time my senior year, and I was exploring, okay, what kind of internship can I do while I'm working, while I'm still taking my last classes. And I got an internship with the LA County Department of Public Health, where I had started to do something with one professor, and that sort of fell through. And then halfway through my senior year, I had to switch my thesis topic, and I started to work with this department now. It was like super scattered, but it ended up being a really good fit that I could transition into grad school. And that project itself, it was looking into different policies and guidelines and programs that public schools in California were doing, but not so cohesively in regards to food waste, which I knew was this issue, this giant statistic that I wanted to help the world tackle, basically. So I did my project on that. I analyzed what different California public schools were doing to reduce food waste, and it transitioned into my grad program now in public health, a different but similar field to nutrition, where we worked together to implement a universal school breakfast program in the small town where I was going to school, and they didn't have one like we do in lots of places in California, but it was such a valuable experience to be able to transfer that knowledge from one place in the world to another town across the country, and to be able to help those kiddos and keep my passion for nutrition and keep my passion for working with children all throughout all of these experiences. So that was my thesis experience, and I mean, right, it's continuing into the work I do nowadays that now I get paid for it, which is really nice. But yeah, that was that.
Thank you, Andreina. And so just a final question to the three of you. What do you think is the most important piece of advice you would give an incoming freshman, not just as an honors college student, but just any student starting college for the first time? if you guys want to tackle it, whoever wants to speak first, go for it.
I can go first. Wow, yeah, you sent us the questions ahead of time, and it was still like, oh my gosh, that's so hard to answer and narrow down. But honestly, I went on a trip to Sedona recently, and I went to a Buddhist temple, and there was a line that was written on the walls, and it said, "When you seek nothing, you are on the right path." So it was kind of like that. I think when you really want your education to make a difference, and you're not like seeking anything else, but just really to help other people and open up the doors to other people, and everything that you do throughout Cal State LA and in the Honors College, ask yourself, like, what am I doing to open up the doors for other folks, right? What am I doing to not only open the doors, but swing them open for the next person who's coming after me? How am I contributing to make space for others? So I think I leave you with that, to ask yourself that question throughout your journey.
Thank you, Melody. Anyone else want to chime in with any last pieces of advice?
I'll jump in briefly. And just I think it's scary. It's a challenging time to transition into college, right? And then on top of that, you all have decided to apply to the honors college, which I'm sure know that is going to be a little more challenging. But these are challenges that you probably faced in high school and in middle school, and challenges that I'm sure you have prepared for. I personally, a lot of people before I applied to the honors college would tell me like, college is hard enough, you don't need to make it harder. But everybody here, I'm sure, has that sort of sense of being a difference maker. And I think this is the step that you're taking, right? To become somebody that's going to make a difference, not only within Cal State LA, but once you graduate, to continue to make that difference. And I think I've seen that in a lot of my peers. You heard that from Melody and you heard that from Andreina, because of the work that they're doing now. And if you look and you ask Jessica, for example, like what other outstanding alumni we have, I'm sure she can give you a list of many, many alumni that are doing great work, right? Especially right now during the pandemic. I think I saw one of our alumni met with Dr. Fauci, right? So, and presented an award to Dr. Fauci. So these are accomplishments that our honor students are doing. So I get very excited about it. But one of the things that I would definitely mention is like, although it's scary, those challenges you've already prepared for. You're ready for them. Just make sure that you continue to prioritize your deadlines and you continue to manage your time well, and you're gonna do great as an honors college student, but also as a Cal State LA student as a whole. So I'll leave you all with that for what it's worth. But yeah, I'm very happy and excited for all of you for being here and taking that first step.
Thank you, everyone. And so I think, I'm not sure if Andreina is still here. If there's anything else anyone wants to add. Thanks, Melody. But it's always great to hear from you guys. I've had the pleasure of knowing you for a few years, as Rolando mentioned, and it's always good to hear from you, and especially the way we connect on social media and see you guys grow and go through these new experiences. So really, thank you for being here and sharing your experience with us. I think we're gonna go and take a short break now. I think we're a little bit behind time on asking questions. But if you guys have questions, we can share with them after through email and get back to you in the follow-up email. Please put them in the chat. But for now, we're gonna go on break and we'll be back, let's say at 10:25 in about 6 or 7 minutes, please. So go ahead if you guys need to step away. We'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Advisement within the program. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now so that I can show you the presentation we put together for you all.
I can't even get the thing yet.
Alrighty, so we pride ourselves because we can provide what is called proactive advisement, which is the type of advisement that happens when we provide information to students and we provide guidance to students before students even realize that that's information or guidance that they need. And we're able to do that because the Honors College is a relatively small program in comparison to almost 30,000 students at Cal State LA. And within the Honors College, we have typically just around 300 students. We have 2 dedicated advisors. You heard a little bit from Jessica earlier and myself. So we usually have just about a ratio at the moment of 151 students per advisor. So that's a very small caseload, especially if you compare it to the types of caseloads that, for example, high school counselors have. And so, we're able to provide these individualized services and really reach out to students even before they feel like they need help with something, providing information that is essential to make sure that their education is on track. So here are some examples of proactive advisement within the Honors College. We're going to meet with you twice over summer if you are admitted into the Honors College. So we meet with our students 2 times over summer before you even start classes in the fall, so that you're not feeling confused or overwhelmed, so that you have all the information and the tools to be able to be ready to go for fall semester. Then within your first year at Cal State LA as a freshman, we would meet with you 2 times, once in the fall and once in the spring. Again, to help you pick classes, to answer any questions you may have. And then in your second year, you will be taking a 1-unit class that will help focus on career and leadership development. Again, very helpful in terms of both advisement, but also for planning for your future, which is really important. Then as a junior in your third year, you would be meeting with Jessica for a total of 3 group advisement sessions in which she would talk to you all about the thesis and getting you prepared and ready for the thesis, which, by the way, she's going to talk to you about right after my part of this presentation. And then lastly, you're going to be conducting a graduation check. So at the very end of your 4th year, we're going to be meeting with you to make sure that you are on track for graduation, so that if you are, we'll give you, that green light, and if you're not, we'll help clarify what's missing. So these are just some examples of the checkpoints and the different advisement that we have embedded within the program structurally, so that we make sure that you have, again, all the information you need to be successful in college and as an honors college student. Individualized advisement. So again, because our caseload is much smaller than, for example, a high school counselor or even some of the other advisors on campus, we're able to really focus and provide individualized advisement throughout. And so, for example, we do, just check-ins. We look at student records constantly to make sure that students are on track. Even outside of the advisement appointments, we're checking to make sure that students are on track. And so if we see something that's a little concerning, we'll email a student saying, hey, have you done this? Make sure you do this by this point, so we're really like hands-on, do a lot of hand holdings. And then also building relationships with our students. So we are able to, again, because we are a smaller program, have the ability to build relationships and really get to know our students, both during the advisement sessions and outside. We connect with students to on and off campus opportunities. I say that that is one of the great accomplishments that Jessica does within the program, is that she's able to give information constantly to students about all kinds of opportunities. We have relationships that we network with a lot of people on campus, but also off campus, in which we've been able to actually help honors college students get other jobs on campus as student assistants. So get jobs on campus, but also off campus internships and things of that nature. And oftentimes You know, our schedules are flexible enough to where students can sometimes even just walk into our office for a walk-in advisement, whether it's virtual or in person, and ask us questions, which is a very, by the way, very unlikely scenario in college where you can just walk into someone's office to ask a question in terms of advice, and that usually is going to be like a 2 to 3 week wait to speak with someone. So up next, I'll talk to you a little bit about the curriculum. And there were some quotes in some of the other slides. I didn't read them, but maybe hopefully you had a chance to read some of those quotes that are coming straight from Honors College students or alum. Here's one about the curriculum. The Los Angeles community and our duty to serve that community with the best of our talents shines in the curriculum. The Honors College has taught me what it means to be an active citizen. So in your first year, if you decide to join us as a freshman, in your first year, the curriculum or the theme is reading Los Angeles, and there's a total of 3 classes that you would be taking as an honors college student. So as you can see, if you're only taking 3 honors classes, that means that the vast majority of your classes as a freshman will be regular non-honors courses. So you'll be taking 3 honors courses, 2 in the fall, 1 in the spring. And by the way, those 3 classes that you take in your first year are general ed courses, meaning they're classes that you would have had to take at Cal State LA anyways as part of the general education program. But they're just the honors version of it, just like AP classes in high school satisfied credit to get your high school diploma. But they're just the advanced version of those classes. In your second year, you take that honors declaration, the 1-unit course, honors 2900. And again, this is the one that is focused on leadership and career development. Then in your third year, you would be taking one of the 3 courses that are listed there. The topic is wicked problems or complex problems. And then lastly, in your 4th year, you would be focusing on the thesis. It's a year-long project. And the honors course that you'd be taking for the thesis is honors 4970. So I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen now so that I can hand it over to Ms. Jessica Rodriguez, who will be talking to you all about the thesis.
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Mary Lou. So yeah, as we mentioned earlier before, part of our learning outcomes as honors college students and in the honors college program is that you become knowledge creators. I think this is one of the coolest things because I never got to do this as an undergrad, and I really wish I had had that opportunity. But basically with the thesis, to become a knowledge creator, you get to design and basically execute a project of your own making. Usually when you're taking classes, everyone's guided through the curriculum that's set up by your major. But sometimes, the class doesn't focus a lot on the topic that you want. I always joke that if I could, I would write a whole thesis project on Tudor parental instincts and the way that parenting has changed since Tudor times, but how it hasn't changed. And that's my nerdy concept that I always wish I could write a thesis on. But basically for any student, as a knowledge creator, you get to design and work with faculty in your program. Within this process, you usually start thinking about what are you interested in, what do you want to work on for basically a full year. We start talking about it and thinking about what your project will be in junior year. And basically we have 3 sessions, as Mary Lou mentioned before. Within these sessions, we go over what are the steps needed, how do I find a thesis advisor, how do I design my thesis project, and then we actually execute it and work on it in your senior year, in your final year as an honors college and undergraduate student. A lot of the things you'll learn do focus on like research, on production of projects, on networking. And a lot of these things will definitely become factors and important for you as you move on to life after Cal State LA. As simple as it may seem right now, you're like, I'm just starting college, but those 4 years or 5 years will go really fast. And those are the skills you'll need as an honors college graduate, not only to succeed in your chosen career, but really to be able to network and connect with people. That's part of what we try to instill in the students before they graduate, that you're able to make those connections outside in the real world, and basically practice with them, with us as honor students and with us as Cal State LA students in the campus. The honors thesis itself is, like I said, broken down into these 2 years. We start discussing it and analyzing and preparing for it in junior year through the info sessions. Sorry if you hear my nephew. And then in senior year, we actually work on it in 2 semesters. We have what's called a major course, where basically you're taking a course in your major that's in some way supplementing or helping you produce your thesis. You're also working with your faculty advisor. And then we have a final class, the Honors 4970 class, where you finalize and bring together everything that you've been working on for that year to present and defend your project to the Honors College team. Within this thesis, like I said, you can basically design and implement an idea that you are interested in. A lot of the students that I've done thesis topics before, and as the alumni mentioned, use these thesis projects to help them move on to things post-grad. So I've actually had students who've used their thesis as writing samples when applying to PhD programs or grad school programs. We have one alumni who's currently at NYU who used her thesis on anthropology as her writing sample and was able to get scholarships in addition to admissions because of that sample of that thesis paper. We've also, as Andreina mentioned earlier in our alumni panel, have students who use this as a stepping stone towards something else in a career that ends up helping them have a fulfilling and worthwhile experience in what they're doing as a job. Here are some examples of other projects. Like I said, they're really focused on what the student's interested in. You guys get to design it. We have the comm studies, communication studies major that basically did an analysis of how often the LA Times mentioned things about undocumented people. So they were able to analyze and look at this and then provide a hypothesis from that. The second idea here is school food waste prevention ideas. That was something that Andreina mentioned and helped her in her career in that way. We've had psychology students who do research in lab with the faculty and basically survey and work with other people to find out like what are the connections between lucid dreaming and depression and anxiety. We had one student, sociology, who was doing analysis of people's experiences as Muslims, as women integrating into US society. This particular student also used this paper and was able to apply to the Sally Casanova pre-doctoral scholars program and was given that award through this experience. And then lastly, we have an engineering example. We have a very vast and hands-on engineering college on the campus. And so their senior design project usually is the thesis that students work on, and they were working on the mini drones competition. We've had other students who basically will also create like smaller devices to make drinkable water out of salt, of seawater that's filled with salt and stuff like that. So there's a lot of ideas like that that students have worked on throughout the years. These are just some of the most recent ones and some of my favorites. But really the thesis process is supposed to be guided and it's supposed to help you guys become knowledge creators, but also be able to leave Cal State LA with something meaningful that can help you propel yourself forward into the next step of your career, whether it's a job or academic. And so in order to actually graduate with honors college distinction and complete the honors program, aside from the classes that Mary Lou mentioned earlier, and aside from your thesis itself, the main requirement is really that honors students have a 3.3 GPA or higher by the time they graduate. And this means you get to graduate with honors distinction. It does show up on your transcript as completing the Honors College and has your thesis title and information about the Honors College on your diploma. So there are like these extra perks that show up once you leave Cal State LA. And so we just want to say thank you. As Mary Lou mentioned, she and I both are the Honors College advisors. We're always there and helpful and open to helping and being as helpful as possible to you guys. Because we know, I think we both are from Cal State LA as previous students, and we're alumni. I did my master's and my undergrad at Cal State LA, and honestly, it's the best campus I've ever been a part of, and it's probably part of what makes my job so meaningful is being able to connect and be, I guess, around the students that make what makes the campus so awesome. And that's really working with you guys. So here's our information. If you guys at any point want to reach us, you can feel free to email us. I think we will also be sharing this in the chat later on. In the meantime, I want to say that the next presenter will be Damien Mejia, which is the financial aid advisor for the Cal State LA campus. I'm not sure if Damien is here, but I'm gonna stop sharing and let them connect.
I am here. Good morning, everybody.
Yay.
My
Thank you,
name
Damien.
is, you're welcome. My name is Damien Mejia. I'm the financial aid advising coordinator here at Cal State LA, and I'm going to go over a brief presentation on navigating financial aid. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, it's not allowing me to share. There we go. Thank you. All right, if I get a thumbs up, everyone could see the screen. Cool, great. Well, I'm going to go through navigating financial aid. So, right, it's also important to know once you get into college, how am I going to pay for it? So let me go ahead and go through that. So I'm gonna go through the financial aid calendar. So in order to be eligible for financial aid, you do have to apply. So how do I apply? Well, there's two ways you can apply. If you are a U.S. citizen or an eligible non-citizen, you want to fill out the free application for federal student aid. If you are not a U.S. citizen or fall under the eligible non-citizen, there's also the California DREAM Act application that's available for students who fall under that status. Both of these applications open up on October 1st, and the priority filing deadline is March 2nd. So for the 22-23 school year, which is going to be coming up, you want to make sure you file your application by the March 2nd deadline. Now, the status, meaning if you are a U.S. citizen or an eligible non-citizen, is based on the student, not the parent. So very important to remember that it's based on what the student status is when you're looking to fill out those applications. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to our office in regards to where I may file or what application. Just it's very important that you file the correct application the first time, because by filing the wrong application may delay your aid. So we don't want that to happen. And I'll go over our ways to contact us and get in touch with the financial aid office later on in the presentation. So once you complete the application, whether you complete the DREAM application or you complete the FAFSA application, the information is gathered and you're given what they call an EFC, an estimated family contribution. Now, the EFC is a tool. It's used to measure your family's financial strength and what type of aid you may qualify for. Okay. So once very important to know, it does not represent the amount you're going to pay for college. Typically higher the EFC that you receive, the less grant and need-based aid / scholarships that you may receive. Okay. And we'll go over what those grants and need-based aid is in just a few moments. So just wanted to kind of give everybody a heads up on what that is. So how does the financial aid office, or how do they determine financial need? So the way we determine financial need is we take the cost of attendance. So for example, if the cost of attendance for you to attend for the 22-23 school year is $25,000 and your estimated family contribution is $10,000, then you're eligible to receive $15,000 in need-based aid. Okay, that's just an estimate here. That's not everyone's situation, but just as an example. So what is need-based aid and what are the different types of financial aid that's available? So grants are the aid that doesn't need to be repaid. Okay, there's federal Pell Grants. Those are for students who filed the FAFSA application. Pell Grants can range from, in the 21-22 school year, can range anywhere from up to $6,495 for the year. There's also the Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. That's also available for students with high financial need. For this year, they're up to $400. Now, both of those are federal programs. So students who fall under and will file a DREAM application will not qualify for those two grants. Now, in addition to those two grants, there is the State University Grant. The State University Grant is a grant that will pay the tuition portion of your fees. Now, in order to be eligible for the State University Grant, you do have to, one, meet the priority deadline of March 2nd on filing your application. Two, you have to meet the document deadline, which will be May 1st of 2022 if any additional documentation is needed. Also, you must be either a California resident or an AB 540 student. Have the AB 540 exemption. The State University Grant is available to both students who file the FAFSA application and the DREAM application. Very important. Also, in addition to the State University Grant, there is the Cal Grant program, which is Cal Grant A and Cal Grant B. Those, once again, are awarded through the state and are available for both students who fall under the FAFSA filers or the DREAM application filers. And last but not least, there is the EOP grant. That is a grant that is specific to students who are accepted into the EO program and meet certain individual requirements as well. So those are the grants that are available. Now, just to let you know, grants are based on enrollment too. So for example, in order to receive your full grant, you must be enrolled as a full-time student. If you are enrolled as a half-time student, you may only receive half of your grant. So grants, very important to know, are based on your enrollment. Now, in addition to grants, there are federal direct student loans. There's both what they call a subsidized loan and an unsubsidized loan. The interest rate is the same for both. The repayment periods are both the same, meaning that if you were to utilize one of these loans, you wouldn't have to repay your loan until one of two things happen. One, either you graduate, or two, you enroll for less than 6 units, then you'll have a 6-month grace period before you begin to have to make payments on that. Now, what's the difference between the two? A subsidized loan is what we call a need-based loan. Now, remember, we talked about need earlier. So in order to qualify for that subsidized loan, you do have to have need. The main difference between the two is a subsidized loan. You're not being charged any interest as long as you're enrolled in 6 units or more and you're going to school. If you receive an unsubsidized loan, the interest does start to accrue from the moment the loan is dispersed. So that is the major difference between the two loans. There's also the Parent Plus loan that's available, and that's for students who maybe their financial aid package is not covering everything. A parent may go ahead and apply for a Plus loan. Plus loans are credit-based. Both the subsidized and unsubsidized loans are not credit-based. There's also private loans that are available through outside banks, credit unions, things of that sort for students if they want to reach out to that alternative. And then also there's dream loans that may be available for students who fall under the AB 540 category as well. So in addition to grants and loans, there is federal work study that may be available to students. Now, federal work study is a federal program, which means that you would have to be a FAFSA filer in order to qualify for that program. It is also need-based, so you will need to have need. And it's very limited. So I wouldn't count that as an option. I would count that as a bonus because we do have a lot of students who would like to be in federal work study, but unfortunately there's limited funds with that and it may not apply to everybody. Then there's outside scholarships and internal scholarships that are available to students. Highly recommend that students apply for scholarships. So there is a lifetime eligibility usage for financial aid. It's not forever. So it's very important that when you're scheduling your classes and you're taking your classes and you're passing your classes, that you really adhere to these guidelines. So Cal Grants are only available for students for up to 4 years. Pell Grants are only available for students up to 6 years. And federal loans, there are aggregate loan limits for students and the amount that they can borrow. And also too, as well, there is a subsidized usage limit that applies to students as well. So you can only receive a subsidized loan for only 150% of the students' attempted units. Basically, it's a year and a half, 6 years of your program if you qualify for that. So just be aware that there are lifetime eligibility usages for that. In addition to qualifying for financial aid, you do have to maintain what we call satisfactory academic progress. And we measure satisfactory progress every semester. So every semester you'll get a communication from the financial aid department notifying you where you stand. These are the minimum requirements in order to meet satisfactory academic progress. The first is GPA. You have to have a cumulative GPA of 2.0. You have to have a completion rate of 75%, which means that you got to be passing your classes at a 75% passing rate. How do we get the passing rate? We take the amount of units that you have earned and we divide it by the amount of units that you've attempted. So if you took 4 courses for your first class and you passed 3 out of 4, then your passing rate would be 75%. Now, passing rate is also cumulative as well. So it's important that you do well from the start. And last but not least is the maximum time frame. So you have up to 180 total attempted units to complete your degree. Attempted units include Fs, withdrawals, no credits, incomplete. So you have to complete your degree within 180 attempted units. Very important. Once, if you're a student, you go into your Get account. There's a lot of handy information there, the Golden Eagle Territory account. A couple of things you can navigate is when you get in there, if you go to self-service, you want to click on view your financial aid. And then you'll click on, you guys will actually click on the 2023 year, or you can do 2022. And when you do that, it's going to show you what aid is being offered to you. This is just an example of a student who's receiving a Cal Grant B stipend, a Cal Grant B tuition and fees, Pell Grant, and they have work study. So their total financial aid that they're eligible for would be about $17,109. Now, this is for the year. So basically, you can look at this and you would receive, if you are enrolled full-time, half for fall and half for spring. Financial aid is not available for the winter intersession. And depending on if you're going to be taking summer courses, depending on how much aid you have used throughout the year, you may or may qualify for aid during the summertime. Okay. Now the federal work study, it does show 3,500. That is not strictly a grant. That is, you do have to work in order to receive that money, but you can work up to that amount for the year. All right. Very important to do too when you're in your Get account. We do send communications quite often to students. You can go to the communication center, but also what you want to do is you want to make sure, I talked about earlier about meeting the priority document deadline of May 1st, 2022. So if there's any additional documents that are needed from you, so the process is this: when you fill out your Fast for Our Dream application, if you meet the March 2nd deadline, by the end of March, you will receive a communication from the financial aid department. It will be one of two things. One, hey, everything is great. Here is your official award. Or two, we still need additional information, but here's an estimate of what you submitted. If you receive an estimated award, then you would have, it would tell you to go to your to-do list. So when you go to Get, you can click on your to-do list and it will tell you what is needed from the student in order to complete their financial aid file. So this is a financial aid file of a student who was selected for a process called verification. it shows here that the student will need to fill out a dependent verification worksheet and submit their tax transcripts. It's in an initiated status as of now because the financial aid office hasn't received the information they need. Once we receive the information, that status will turn to received. And then once the file is completed, it will be removed from your to-do list. If you see that the status goes from received to returned, we typically will reach out to a student to let them know that we need something that you turned in isn't incorrect. But because we do have a lot of students, it's very important for the student to take the active role. And if you see it in a return status, to reach out to our office to see what you can do to resolve the discrepancy. So currently right now, the financial aid office is open. We are open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. We also have some online advising resources. When you go to our homepage, you will see kind of our 4 main resource information there. Number 1 is if you need to submit documents to the financial aid office, you can click on that link and you can upload and submit your documents. 2, we do have where you can meet with your financial aid advisor. We do have where walk-in hours, and we do have where you can meet virtually with a financial aid advisor through the Teams app. Now they're not going to call you. It is through a Teams app where you will, it's kind of like Zoom, where you can speak with them. Appointments are very limited with that, but we do have those available. We also have an advising request form that's available for students as well. That is if it's, you can go ahead and send a request for your advisor if you have a question. My recommendation is if you do have a question, please be very specific, because the advisor would be able to hopefully answer it in one email. If it's very vague, then you guys are going to be having emails go back and forth. So try to be as specific as you can in your question. And then there's also important deadlines, very important to click on that. Once again, that will go through the important deadlines for you to submit your applications, to submit your documents, to submit a variety of things in order to qualify for the maximum aid possible for you. Okay. So with that, I believe I am done with my presentation. And I'll turn it over to whoever's next.
Thank you so much, Damien.
Thanks, Damien.
You're welcome.
Your time here with us, especially on a Saturday morning. And so we're actually gonna start.
Mary Lou, I don't know if I can hear you well. I think while Mary Lou gets set up, if you guys have any questions for Damien or any of the Honors College staff, feel free to basically put your question in the chat and we can start with the Q&A session. And just to clarify, because someone asked me privately, the information Damien was presenting is general financial aid information for all Cal State LA students, not specifically for Honors College students only. And so Damien is the main person in financial aid who would be the contact that helps you once you're a Cal State LA student and do all the documents that he mentioned.
Thank you for mentioning that, Jessica. Appreciate that. And just one last thing, if I can add, financial aid is very specific. So if you have specific questions regarding your situation, I definitely recommend that you contact the financial aid department just for privacy. We do have a lot of students who will ask, well, this is my situation, but we really can't comment on that in a group presentation like this. So you want to make sure that you reach out to us. Our phones are available too as well. I apologize, I forgot to mention our phone number there, but it is 323-343-6260, and the phones are available 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. So definitely, if you can't make it in, I recommend you call. That would be the quickest way to get in touch with somebody to help assist you.
Thanks, Damien.
Mhm.
So for the question about EOP and the Honors College, you can be an Honors College student and still be a part of other programs on campus, including EOP. They don't overlap or conflict with each other.
There's a question here. It said submitted a FAFSA. How do I view how much money I received? The school will be sending you what we talked about earlier, either a official award letter or an estimated award letter, determining what you qualify for this with the school. So you can expect those if you meet all the deadlines, the March 2nd deadline, by either late March at the very latest, early April. If you didn't receive one by then, reach out to us, because there may be something very important when you do your applications that you use your legal name, your correct date of birth, and your social security number if you have one.
And so I saw a few questions earlier that just went up really fast about letters of recommendation. So your application will be reviewed once all materials are received. We'll go over the process of applying later towards the end, but really both letters of recommendation should be in so that you can get reviewed and get the admissions in the same timeline as everyone else. I think that's what the question was. Okay, I think that dorm question is for you, Damien.
Sure. All right. So does financial aid help with acquiring a dorm? Well, you'd want to speak with the housing department in order to secure your spot for a dorm, but financial aid can possibly help assist with paying for housing as well, if you qualify for enough aid to pay for that. So it's definitely available.
I do see a question about notification of sorts regarding the steps for application of our financial assistance. I was wondering if that got addressed.
I don't think so. Maybe I missed it. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
I'm trying to look
At
through
11:02.
11:02. Okay, I'm trying to look through the
Many 11:02 questions.
not a problem.
From Harmony Soto.
Harmony Soda. Okay. So typically, we don't send out a communication notifying the steps for students. It is on our website that you can check out. Definitely look at our website. There's a lot of information on the process. So when you go to our website, you can go to applying for financial aid section, and that should kind of walk you through as far as what steps to do. So the first thing we mentioned in the presentation was fill out the application. That's number one. You don't know what you qualify till you apply, and then you'll be receiving notification from the school, like I said, probably late March, early April, in regards to your status.
So I see questions about applying to the Honors College program. We will be going towards the end over the steps needed to apply to the Honors College program, including deadlines. So I hope you guys can stick around for that. I think other than that,
Someone asked about where to find the general scholarship application.
Well, typically, the general scholarship application for Cal State LA will be notifying students of that late February, and the general scholarship application typically opens up in March. So you guys want to be on the lookout for that. Probably if you are not a current student, you may not receive that communication. So you might want to just check into our website to see what you may qualify for with that. And also to, look at external scholarships as well. You know, it never hurts to apply. There's another question that says, is it true, do you get less money the later you apply for FAFSA? Yes and no. There's no deadline for, well, there is a deadline, but if you apply March 2nd or March 1st, excuse me, or you apply April 30th, you still get the same federal funding, but you will lose out on the opportunity if you miss that March 2nd deadline for the state university grant and possibly Cal grant as well. So yes, you may receive less funding depending on what you qualify for.
And so, yeah, I think Dr. McCurdy addressed it, but some asked about letters of recommendation. So the admissions application is separate from the honors college application. So any materials we request, you would have to send them to us directly through the steps we'll go over with later, just because offices don't like share documents with each other in that sense. So you want to make sure that you're submitting the materials to what we request to versus what other departments request or programs. Some asked, Kalila, I think about sports. So we've had a lot of honor students in the past who are also in sports. I think even if you weren't in honors, there will always be conflicting things because you are practicing and doing things like that. But we've had several successful sports people, members in the honors college who completed a thesis and everything and graduated. I think we had a couple of twins that were the basketball. We've had soccer players. And I think, I don't know if we do track, but I feel like someone was a runner. But yeah, I do know they often ask us for like adjusting to meet with us early in the day because they have practice later on or towards the evening. So things like that, we fluctuate and work with students.
So I think there's a question about the FAFSA priority deadline. That is correct. It is March 2nd. And there's another question. If I've already submitted a FAFSA through Going Merry, is there anything else I need to do through Cal State LA for financial aid? Just make sure that when you fill out your application for both your DREAM application or your FAFSA application, that you include Cal State LA as one of your schools to send the information to. If you don't, then we will never know who is requesting to have aid through the school. So very important that you select Cal State LA as one of your schools. I believe you're eligible to select up to 10 schools.
There's a question about Honors College offering programs to help students become a registered nurse. So Honors College does not do major programming. So that would be through your pre-major and major departments. If I answered that question.
That most recent question that Allison just responded to, the nomenclature of a college is an institutional organizational name. It does not tie to necessarily what it is you're doing. So it's a way in which the university organizes majors and minors around similar themes so that leadership and coordination can happen in an orderly fashion.
Any other questions? So I see the question about the difference. So when you join Cal State LA, everyone declares a major, right? You're studying that for your career. The Honors College basically becomes like a second major in the sense that you're doing both programs. The way that we help is that the classes you're taking with us basically replace what you would have to take either way with the general campus education courses. And so you're not really taking a lot of extra courses in the sense of being an honor student, but you are supplementing or replacing those courses with our version of a curriculum. And so I just want to mention that because I think like that question's coming up a lot.
Hi, everyone. So I would actually encourage students at this point for the about 8 minutes or so that we have left of the Q&A to also unmute themselves and ask questions because we're getting the same questions asked over and over. So if we can have you, if you feel comfortable, unmute yourself. You could raise your hand as a method of asking the questions. For example, one that was asked again was about decisions. So our decisions typically go out sometime between the end of March all the way can be till the end of May even. And that's all going to depend on when you submit your application. If you meet the priority consideration deadline, which is January 31st for freshmen, then you're going to find out, more than likely, you're going to find out sooner towards the beginning of that bracket that I just mentioned. So this is an interesting question. I had someone mention in their question to me that they submitted letters of recommendation for Cal State LA. I don't believe that Cal State LA requires letters of recommendation. So to answer the question that just came in the chat, no, I don't believe that Cal State LA specifically requires letters of recommendation. I wonder if maybe other Cal States do require it, and that's why oh, for EOP. Oh, okay, perfect. Yes, so EOP does. And so you are able to utilize the same recommenders. That's perfectly fine. You can have the same recommenders, right, that even submit the same letter, maybe just tailor it for the Honors College if they wish. But we have our own process of submitting the letters of recommendation. Keep that in mind. So you can't email those letters to us. You have to fill out a form. And I will go over the steps of how to apply, by the way. You do have to fill out a supplemental documents form in which you tell us who your recommenders are, including their email, and then we'll reach out to them and ask them for that letter. I see America has her hand up.
Hi, yeah, I'm America. Can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I have to go to doctor's appointment, so I'm like making my way over there. But really quickly, so I'm actually a sophomore at ELAC right now, as a high school student, because I took classes during my high school years.
Ah, yes.
Do you know if like most of those are going to transfer, like my credits, can they transfer over to like Cal State LA?
I'm gonna assume that most of them will,
Okay.
but that's really a question that I can only answer by looking at your actual transcripts to see what you took. Majority of classes that you take at a community college are gonna be transferable. Hopefully you've had assistance from either your high school counselor or a counselor at ELAC in picking those classes to make sure that they are equivalent to some of the GE requirements at Cal State LA. But nonetheless, yes, generally my answer would be more than likely the majority of those classes are going to be transferable, and they probably will fulfill some of those general ed requirements at the university.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. I also see Sandra has her hand up.
Hi, thank you. I have a question concerning the courses that are going to be honors courses, and I wanted to know, I did see a slide that said year 1 3 honors courses, I believe it was.
Right.
Are those able to be chosen by the student, or are they chosen by the program itself?
So those classes, to answer your question, yes and no. So the classes you take in your very first semester, which are the honors 1010 and honors 1100. So those are everyone has to take those. So those you don't really pick, those that we pick for you. In your spring semester, you do have an option between picking between 2 different classes, between honors 2310 and honors 2210. They're similar classes. They're going to be based on Los Angeles, but they fulfill different GE requirements. So you get a little, I guess you could say, a little bit more flexibility. But for the most part, generally speaking, the honors classes that you'll be taking in the program are standard for everyone. They're part of the honors curriculum. And so they're going to be, for the most part, the same for everyone. And you don't really actually get to pick this versus that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Sandra. I don't see any more hands, but feel free. Oh, hi. Hi, Karina. Is that Karina? No. Who am I speaking to?
Yasin.
Hello. Hi there. I
Hello.
see you.
Okay, hello. So I have a question. So are the letters of recommendation due at the same time as you do the application for HC?
Yes, so we highly recommend that you try to get everything in by the consideration deadline, because that's what's going to mark your application as being complete. Now, if you don't meet the January 31st deadline, that doesn't mean that you're disqualified from applying to the program. That does not mean that we will no longer consider your application for admission. So please keep in mind that, you know, that deadline, as much as we recommend that you submit everything by then, it doesn't necessarily, everything doesn't necessarily have to be in there. So as soon as you submit your online application, we recommend that immediately afterwards you fill out the next form, which is again the supplemental documents form, in which you'll upload your unofficial transcripts, and then you'll also tell us who your 2 recommenders are. And so as soon as you do that, they also get that notification saying, hey, this student has requested that you submit a letter for them.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jocelyn.
And then Karina, I
Karina?
think, has her hand up.
Yep, I see Karina. Did you want to unmute yourself?
Yeah. Is it possible to go to community college and just to get your general education and then transfer to Cal State?
Most definitely, yeah. That is actually the route I took out of high school. I went to Long Beach City College, finished up all my community college classes. And just so you know, also, that is the route that you decide to go to. When you come to Cal State LA as a transfer student, you can actually apply to the Honors College into as a junior entry. So keep us in mind if you do decide to go that route.
Okay. When you apply for the junior entry, would it be as you transfer, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
It would be. You don't want to wait to apply to the Honors College until you're already a Cal State LA student, because at that point it would be too late. You want to apply to the Honors College at the same time that you are applying to Cal State LA.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, up next, I see Sydney.
Oh, hello. I was just wondering, if requested, are professors available to give like individual attention to students, like for tutoring?
I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that one more time? It was something about tutoring.
Oh, if requested, are professors available to give like tutoring out to students?
Yeah, definitely. So actually, every professor at the university, whether they're a lecturer or tenured faculty, they are required to actually have office hours every week. And so students who need additional help or clarification about a topic, any, just help overall, you can definitely go into their office hours. to talk to them. And then additionally, the university also has a center that is dedicated to providing tutorial services for students. And so we have that's one of the huge advantages of attending such a large university like Cal State LA, is that there's going to be just so many resources available to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'll take the last question before we take our break. Harmony. Harmony?
Hi, yes, good morning. I had a question as far as financial aid goes. I understand that when you apply, it is for the, general education I'm sorry, for your years attending regular college. But is the cost of honor classes different as well? Like, is it more costly, should I say, regarding the honors classes in addition to our original classes?
That's a great question, Harmony. Actually, we do get this question quite a lot. Students are very curious if being a part of the Honors College is going to impact them financially in any way. And to answer your question, no. So the cost is not going to be driven up in any way. The cost is not going to go up for you because of the honors courses. Remember that the honors courses for the most part are going to be GE courses or general ed courses that you would have had to take at Cal State LA anyways. They fulfill part of your degree requirements. They're just the honors version of those classes. And so for that reason, it's not going to add up a substantial amount of units that you would be taking at the university. It's not going to drive up the cost. On the contrary, it's likely that if you apply to the Honors College and are admitted, that you might also even qualify for a scholarship. So in that sense, it does affect you financially, but in a good way, so that you'd be paying less money because you could potentially get awarded a scholarship. So thank you everyone for your questions.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Harmony. Thanks everyone for your questions. At this point, I know we're going to be taking a break.
Yeah.
And so after this break, students are going to be joining a separate Zoom session to attend mock classrooms. College, you are required to have at least a 3.5 GPA for students applying for freshman entry. If you're coming straight from high school, this would be your cumulative GPA. Particularly, you can use your weighted GPA as the one to determine whether you have a 3.5 or higher. Then when you're applying to our program, there's going to be, the first step is going to be an online application, and we're just going to be a series of short essay questions that you will have to answer. So those will be required as part of your application. And important to note is we actually don't require standardized test scores anymore. So if you know somebody that applied in the past and they were required to submit SAT or ACT scores, please note that you don't need to submit test scores any longer for admission to the Honors College. So step number one actually is to apply to Cal State LA. I'm assuming that the majority of you are either in the process of applying and are just awaiting a response from the university, but have already done so. And so the next step is to actually apply directly to the Honors College using GET. So GET is one of the portals that you have access to, even as a prospective Cal State LA student. Even if you're not fully admitted to the university yet, you do have access to GET. And so that is the portal that you would have to use in order to submit your online Honors College application. Once you submit the online application, you would also have to fill out what's called the supplemental documents form. So you will get an automatic email after you submit your online application through GET that will give you the next steps. And again, one of the next steps is to actually fill out that supplemental documents form. And so on that form, you will upload your unofficial transcripts, and you will also tell us who your recommenders are. This is a very common question that we get is, how do I submit my letters of recommendation? Well, technically, you're not submitting them. Your recommender is. You're just going to tell us who your recommenders are, what their email is, and we're actually going to reach out to them. And so they're going to be submitting on your behalf. So I mentioned before that once you submit your online application to the Honors College, you're going to receive a checklist, an automatic email. And that automatic email will have a link to this particular checklist that has the steps of how to apply to the program. So you'll get more details. And we also mentioned earlier before that the priority consideration deadline for students applying as freshmen is January 31st. For junior students, that is February 28th. And so please feel free to reach out to me. And I'll also include the Honors College email in the chat in just a second for any questions that you may have. So if you're applying to the program and run into some type of trouble or have questions for me, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll again also type in the Honors College email address because I personally am also going to be leaving on maternity leave in February. So I want to make sure that you know who to reach out to in case I am not, working at the moment. So let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And again, I'll go ahead and type in the other email that you'll be able to reach to if you have questions about your application process. In the chat, I'm also going to be sending a few links that have detailed information about how to submit your online application to get. So stick around, and I'm going to hand over the mic, so to speak, to Dr. Shefflin. And thank you again for being here with us on this Saturday morning.
Thank you, Mary Lou. Well, that's it, folks. This is who we are. This is what we planned for you, and we are eager for you to join us. As we've made clear numerous times this morning, we have a willing, able, and friendly group of team members eager to answer your questions and to welcome you into the Honors College. Don't hesitate to pay close attention to a variety of deadlines which were shared with you. I know there was a lot of information and a lot of such deadlines, but application to Cal State LA, application to the Honors College, and application with regard to financial aid are all important deadlines. And we have shared with you the places in which you can consult again those deadlines and the information necessary to be filed in a timely manner. The best to you as you continue this winter and early spring, and we're eager to see your faces in the flesh in the fall if all goes smoothly as we disappear from or we escape from the COVID pandemic. Thanks to all of my team members for an outstanding presentation. And again, to our guests, thank you for attending. Take care.
Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
Actually, I have one last question. If this is okay with you guys.
Yeah, go for it.
If you apply for like the National Honor Society here in Cal State LA, is also someone accepted to like the other Cals like Cal Poly Pomona, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo? Like, if you apply to this one, does it also like count for the others?
No, our program is specifically for Cal State LA.
Gotcha. I just wanted to ask that.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for answering my question. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Roger.
I have a question. So, for the deadline, say like, I'm not sure if I want to apply to Cal State LA, would it like affect it? Like, say I apply, but then I don't end up going to Cal State LA?
Can you repeat your question?
So say I'm still thinking of like whether going to Costa LA or like another school.
Mhm.
But I applied for the honors program.
Mhm.
What would happen if like at the end of the day I don't end up going to Costa LA?
Oh, so our program is specifically tied for Cal State LA students. So you basically would just not be in the program because you're not a Cal State LA student. For example, you can be a Cal State LA student without being in the honors program, but you can be in the honors program without being a Cal State LA student.
So since I am like interested in the program, I make sure to apply like right now so that way I don't miss the
Yeah.
deadline, right?
Yeah, basically if Cal State LA is one of your top contenders, you would want to apply now to make sure you don't miss any deadlines. And then if say you get accepted into both Cal State LA and honors, you can let us know if you're coming or not by the deadline that is sent out in the admissions email.
All right, thank you.
Problem.
So I actually have to step away. So I don't know if the rest of the staff is okay to stick around to answer more questions. But I actually do have to step away. So happy Saturday to everyone that's still here.
I think we'll be sending out the recordings. Bye, Mary Lou. Thank you. We'll be